What's up, fellow bookworms, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dylan, and in this video, we are going to be taking another look at the Kindle Scribe. So this thing came out right at the end of November. I think I got my hands on this one right at the beginning of December, and I put out a full-length review for this device. But since that time, have my thoughts on the Scribe really changed? And I guess the answer to that question is yes and no. But before we get into that, I do just want to take a quick second to mention that if you notice the cover of this book that I have here on the Scribe, it is Chain of Gold. It is the first official book that we are going to be reading as a book club over on my Patreon exclusive book club. We are going to start this book on March 1st, and if you would like to get in on the action, it is not at all too late. You can head over to the Patreon, get signed up, and get right in on the fun as we read through this really exciting historical sort of fantasy read that has amazing reviews over on Goodreads. So if you'd like to get in on that and support the channel on Patreon, it would really mean a lot to me, and I think you'll have a lot of fun. But with that kind of plug out of the way, I'm going to actually put this thing down because that kind of leads me into my first complaint about this device. So in that first review that I made, one of the biggest things that I didn't like about the Scribe is how uncomfortable it is to hold for an extended period of time. I can't tell you how many times I've had a cramp in my hand, like right here, from holding the Scribe for more than about 5 minutes or so. It's excellent if you're sitting at a desk or maybe sitting somewhere where you can leave the thing on your lap, but as a mobile device, it falls very flat. I mean, I will say in fairness, I had to take my mother to a doctor's appointment about a week or so ago, and I did decide to take this thing with me to that appointment. And I mean, obviously I lived, nothing terrible happened, but it was very strange, like carrying a tablet into the office. And I mean, once I got there, it was fine, but I don't carry a backpack or anything like that, so it just wasn't easy to lug around, and I was constantly afraid I was going to drop it or something and break it. So as far as portability goes, I would have to give it a 0 out of 10, and that's still true. Let me spoiler alert, nothing there has changed. My second big complaint about the Scribe was the pen that comes with it, specifically what Amazon has called the premium pen, which is this one right here. And what makes this pen quote unquote premium is that it's got a little eraser button here on the top. So if you want to erase, you can press that little button on the screen and it will erase for you. And then also this little button right here, which allows you to easily swap between, say, a pen and an eraser, or a pen and a highlighter, or a highlighter and eraser, or just, whatever. You can program it in the settings app to do whatever you want to do with that little button. But for $30 extra, I really think it's not that hard to manually swap between the two and manually swap to the eraser. It's just not worth it if you're going to upgrade from the base model Scribe. But if you're going to opt for the more expensive Scribe that comes included with the pen, then of course, I would say it's worth it. But then that leads me into probably my biggest complaint about the Scribe, and that is the price. So in that first review, I mentioned how I think the Scribe is really just overpriced. What you pay is not really worth what you get in return. So the very cheapest version of the Scribe is $340, and the most premium option is $420. And that's not with any case or any accessories or anything like that. That is just for the device and the pen. But even at the cheapest price, $340 with the standard pen, I just don't know if the increase in screen size and the fancy new, hardware is really worth $340 before tax. It's a lot of money. And of course, nothing there has changed. Those prices are still the same over on Amazon's website. And then other than the high price tag, probably the biggest disappointment with this Scribe was the fact that you cannot annotate directly on the page of a book. So when this device was first announced, I think everyone thought in their mind, okay, this is going to be great. I'm finally going to have an e-reader where I can underline important sentences or phrases or words. I'm finally going to have an e-reader where I can write in the margins and just completely, treat an e-reader like you would treat a book if you wanted to take notes, highlight, underline, and that sort of thing. But as of now, and for the foreseeable future, that is not an option. The only way you can actually make notes on the Scribe is by using what Amazon has called sticky notes, which is where you tap on the screen, select the little sticky note icon, place it somewhere on the page, write your note, and then exit out of that little tab. And then you just have on the screen a tiny little sticky note icon where you've left your sticky note. I do think it keeps things looking nice and tidy and uniform, I suppose, but it's just not very fun. It's not what I had in mind at all or what I was expecting or hoping for. And full disclaimer, I'm not even a person who takes notes when they read. I haven't read much nonfiction here lately, and I don't annotate my fiction books. In fact, I'm just going to be totally honest. I had to go digging around for this pen before I hit record on this video because I just haven't used it. I think it was in my wife's purse somewhere for the last month because I just use this device basically as I would use a Paperwhite. I just enjoy the larger screen, which leads me into the, I guess, one and only thing that I really loved about the device in that first review, which is the impressive display on this Kindle. So as you can tell, it's upside down, but the screen is massive. I think it's 10.2 inches if I remember the specs correctly. It is so easy on the eyes. I really love that as I'm reading, I don't have to continually press the screen every 20 seconds to advance the page. I can spend a minute or two on a certain page, and it's just nice. It just makes it feel more natural, like I'm looking at a book. But really, as far as pros go, that was it in that first review video. And I have to say, not to spoil this video, but that's still kind of the only pro as of now. Now, I will say there was just recently an update to the Scribe, but nothing really amazing in that update. So what they offered was a couple or maybe just one additional pen option. They added a pencil and maybe a marker, but I think that was already an option. But I don't remember for sure because, like I said, I never take notes on the thing. And then they also allowed you to change the pen stroke size. So you've got 5 options from smallest to largest. For me, that means nothing. If you use the Scribe for a lot of heavy note-taking, that might be exciting news. But then in addition to that, they also added a couple new options for how you can organize your notebooks. You can now create subfolders within folders, which again means absolutely nothing to me. But if you take a lot of notes and have a lot of folders and pages and stuff, then maybe that's something that excites you. And then I think there was another little upgrade in this update, but I don't even remember what it was. It was something along those same lines, something to do with pages, I think. But to kind of address the question of this video, have my thoughts on the Scribe really changed in the last 90 days? Nothing has changed with the Scribe. The price is still the same. The pen is still the same. It's still heavy and bulky and unwieldy and hard to use, and you still can't annotate directly on the page. But I have to say, since I got the Scribe, I basically have exclusively used it as my e-reader. I haven't really found myself reaching for the Paperwhite. I haven't found myself reaching for the Oasis or the Basic or any other device. I have done, I would say, 99% of my e-reader reading on the Scribe. And I think that's because the one major pro that it has, the fact that the screen is so impressive and so easy to use and so comfortable to read on, it's kind of overshadowed all the cons. Well, specifically the con of price. I already bought the thing, so, I'm kind of stuck with it. So, of course, I'm going to use it. And I don't take notes, so the fact that you can't annotate directly on the page is a bummer, but it doesn't really affect me. The fact that the pen is kind of just an overpriced stylus is disappointing, but again, I didn't even know where the thing was for the last month, so it doesn't really affect me. So if you're like me, I guess what this video boils down to, and you just want to find a very comfortable to use e-reader, and again, big asterisk on that statement because it's not really comfortable to hold in your hand for a long period of time. But if you want a device that you can sit at your desk and use, or maybe rest on your lap while you use it, and you really value a nice, crisp, easy to look at screen and you don't mind shelling out too much money for it, then I would recommend the Scribe. And I guess in that way, my thoughts about it have changed. Because before, 3 months ago, I would have told you not to even waste your money on the Scribe and just go for the Paperwhite. That's about a third of the price. But now I would say if you've got the money to spend on it and you don't mind overpaying and you value comfort more than your money, I guess, then I would at least consider the Scribe. But as far as note-taking abilities go, I still think there's probably better options out there, at least as of right now. If and when Amazon does allow direct, on-the-page annotation, my opinion would definitely change. But as of now, as a note-taking device, it is still disappointing and is still probably not worth your money when there are better options out there. But if you have the Scribe and your opinion is different than mine, I would absolutely love to hear why in the comments below. Or if you're watching this video because you're doing a little bit of research and you maybe are interested in the Scribe, let me know in the comments below if this video was helpful, and let me know which camp you fall into. Are you looking for a really good e-ink note-taking device, or are you just looking for a nice device to read on? I would absolutely love to hear from you guys and get your feedback about this. And like I said, don't forget to check out the Patreon if you're interested in joining our Patreon exclusive book club. I'm so excited for that. Link's going to be in the description below. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.